runs and 5 hits. He's out, and Yacabonis on in relief. And Yacabonis picks off the outside corner with the fastball, and it's 0-2. Yacabonis hasn't pitched in 8 days since he faced the Nationals on April 25th. Here's the best I could figure it, assuming that Lucchese's not hurt. I think that the Tigers presented a fairly heavy right-hand batting lineup, and I think that this is kind of like a piggyback situation for Buck to take advantage of the platoon.
Well, Lucchese not going good pitch on the outside corner right there from Yacabonis.
So short strikes out to start the 5th.
No chance to get a W here. It's not going to be 5 innings necessary.
So Yacabonis put in a position where the Mets would like him to soak up 2 or 3 innings if he can. Here's Matt Vierling, who's been up twice and grounded out both times.
If you look at the scorecard, Gary, all the damage done by the Pirates have been the top 4 batters in the order. Now the lineup just went through its 3rd time through.
Grounded to short, 2-hopper for Lindor. And so 2 quick outs for Yacabonis, a strikeout and a ground ball. Again, I think that, Lucchese is one of those classic guys who pays that penalty 3rd time around the batting order. Although we didn't see it in his first start against the Giants. He was able to get deep into that game. So it'll be interesting to...
We recall in that game, he threw the right-handers a lot of fastballs, and he had that inside corner locked in.
I got one more thought about making the change. Here's Javi Baez, who's 2 for 2, a single and a home run. And that is that because the Mets got rained out last night and have a doubleheader today, they're going to need a starter for Sunday. Now, is it possible that having thrown 46 pitches, Buck figures, well, then I can bring Lucchese back on 3 days rest and pitch on Sunday?
Well, in today's game,
Well,
isn't that interesting though? Because Buck was talking earlier yesterday, before we had our meeting with him, about he thinks that eventually it's going to go to a 6-man rotation in Major League Baseball.
and he said he'd rather have a 4-man rotation.
Yes.
With a deeper bullpen.
And
Top back past the mound, Lindor charging, grabs, throws on the run, and gets his buddy Baez. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Jimmy Yacabonis. Through 5-4 New York. Home 6th inning, Jimmy Yacabonis out for his 2nd inning. Riley Green leads off for the Tigers and takes a fastball strike. Yacabonis worked a 1-2-3 5th after Joey Lucchese went the first 4 innings. Allowed 4 runs, 5 hits. Green is 1 for 2 at a base hit and scored back in the 1st. Fastball away 1-1. Coming into the day, the Mets starting pitching carried a 5.21 ERA, the highest for the Mets through their first 29 games since 1962. It's hard to say. And Lucchese giving up 4 earned runs in 4 innings today will not make that any better. What's remarkable is the way that the Mets have managed to survive that poor starting pitching, in part because they've gotten so many great contributions from their bullpen. Not only the guys you expected, but even guys like Yacabonis, who was not on the active roster when the year began, who has come up and given the Mets quality innings in relief.
well, the Mets bullpen is 3rd in ERA, 3.51 coming into today. 9 of 10 saves, only 1 blown save. That's been Robertson and Ottavino. They've been wonderful.
And Green waves and misses and a changeup away. Good pitch by Yacabonis, who's retired his first 4. That's his 2nd strikeout.
Yacabonis has got a good live arm. He can just get a little erratic. When he comes in, he throws hard. He's got a hard sinker. There's the good changeup.
The other side of that coin for the Mets, as Eric Haas steps in, is that the starting pitching could get a whole lot better very quickly just by getting their people back.
Right.
Scherzer going tonight, Verlander tomorrow, and hopefully by next week, Carlos Carrasco should be back and ready to go. Swings and misses a breaking ball, and it's 0-2. I mean, Carrasco's going to throw a rehab start probably Friday, Saturday, somewhere in there. And then maybe for the series in Cincinnati, maybe the series in Washington, he should be ready to rejoin the rotation. And all of a sudden, that starting rotation might become a little more strengthy. Strengthy, is that a word? Back-to-back strikeouts for Yacabonis. 2 out of the 6th.
I don't think it is.
No? I just made it up. The Mets have matched the most starts of less than 6 innings this year, and another one today. Casey, of course, is the only Mets starter who's gone 7 this season. Here's Spencer Torkelson, and he takes a pitch for the first time today. Gives us a chance to tell you about Torkelson, who was the #1 overall pick in the draft coming out of Arizona State in 2020. Light out both of his first 2 at bats, and he takes a fastball strike, and it's 0-2.
Boy, Yacabonis is sharp.
Torkelson grew up in Northern California, a huge Barry Bonds fan, and that's in large part why he decided to go to Arizona State, where he broke some of Bonds' hitting records for the Sun Devils.
Petaluma, is that where he's from?
Petaluma.
Know it well. That is north of Napa and Sonoma, getting up into horse country, and not horse racing, just horse country up there. It's beautiful, beautiful up there in that part of the world.
That fastball just missed away. Nino tried his best to frame it, but Scott Berry, the home plate umpire, said no, and 2-2. Well, they think Torkelson eventually will hit home runs, but he hit just 8 as a rookie last year, just 2 this year. He's powerfully built. Doesn't hit a lot of balls in the air, at least not right now. And takes that one low and away. It's 3-2. Always hit 2 balls in the air today.
Does it feel like it's getting a little misty or
Yeah. Well, we had that brief rain shower.
foggy or whatever? Low clouds.
And Torkelson pops this one up, and Alonso waves everybody away. And Pete puts it away. 6 up and 6 down for Jimmy Yacabonis. 5-4 Mets after 6. Home 7th inning, Zach McKinstry will bat for Jonathan Schoop, facing Jimmy Yacabonis, who misses badly with his first curveball. The rain is starting to come down again. That may have been why that ball slipped on Yacabonis. McKinstry's been facing all the right-hand pitching. Former Dodger and Cub. Swings and misses. And the fastball from Yacabonis, 1-1. Adam Ottavino is up in the Mets bullpen. Yacabonis has gone 6 up and 6 down over the 5th and 6th innings. And Buck trying to squeeze a few more outs out of him as McKinstry gets under one to right field. Marte having trouble finding it through the raindrops and stays with it. That was not easy. That ball was coming down through the rain, and that rain was coming right down in his eyes.
Yep.
Time for your M&M fun facts. Tigers, established in 1901, first year of the American League. Won their most recent World Series in 1984. That was the year they got off to the 35-5 start under Sparky Anderson. 27 Hall of Famers. Most recently, Alan Trammell.
I will remember the 1968 World Series as if it happened yesterday. I was a freshman in high school, Cardinal fan, and the Tigers came back and beat Gibson in Game 7.
They were down 3-1.
Yes.
Mickey Lolich won 3 games in that World Series.
That's the year Denny McLain won 30 games. Was Cy Young.
But McLain struggled in the World Series, and Lolich was the star. Jim Northrup had a huge hit for the Tigers in that Game 7.
Kurt Flood misjudged, the great center fielder. There you have it right there.
They both went the distance. All the runs were scored late in the game.
Lolich, the side armor.
That's had him later in his career. Not quite as effective then. 2-1 to Ibanez. And that fastball below the knees, and it's 3-1. As the great Willie Horton, boy, could he mash.
He was a strong man. Al Kaline, Jim Northrup, Dick McAuliffe, Bill Freehand,
Don Wirt,
Norm Cash,
Dickie Stanley.
Yep. You got it.
Grounded down to first, right behind the bag. Alonso makes the flip in time for the out. Remember in that World Series, they moved Mickey Stanley in from center field to play shortstop,
right,
because they had Ray Oyler who couldn't hit a lick.
Right.
And Stanley hadn't played shortstop like 6 games all year.
Right.
And they made that move, and it paid off for them.
The manager was Mayo Smith?
Mayo Smith.
Mayo Smith was the manager, right. They beat the mighty Bob Gibson, who was two Cy Youngs in that World Series. Gibson had the 1.12 earned run average that year.
And, you know, Gibson had been star for the Cardinals in the '64 series and again in the '67 series.
McLean did win a game in that series. He lost the first game 1, I believe.
Game 2.
Game 2.
Yeah. Lolich pitched 1, 4, and 7.
Right. He came back, I think, and won game 5.
Right. But 31 wins, the last 30-game winner in the major leagues. Here's Jake Rogers, who's 0 for 2 today, and he swings over the sinker from Yacabonis. Boy, this is the best Yacabonis has looked.
Yes. And
Keith, it feels to me like they've cleaned up his delivery a little bit.
He's not as, you know, elbows and you know what.
I mean, normally he looks like his hair is on fire, but he just looks a little more controlled.
He looks a lot more controlled. There he didn't. And that's why that pitch was out of the strike zone. But he looks much more compact. But, you know, part of his deception is that motion. So you don't want to take that away from him.
Casey and Yacabonis have combined to retire 14 Tigers in a row. And Rogers takes it low 2-1. Last base runner was Baez, who hit the home run leading off the 3rd. And the Tigers have not had a base runner since. They led in this game 3-0 and 4-2 before the Mets scored 3 in the 5th to go in front. 2-1 to Rogers, who's grounded out in his first 2 at-bats. And he takes one on the corner for a strike. 2-2. Well, now we've got blue skies. Just to complete the cycle. It was raining a moment ago, and now the sun's coming out. 2-2 coming to Rogers, and a ground ball hit to Lindor. It's been a busy day for the Mets infield. 9 up and 9 down for Jimmy Yacabonis in relief. 5-4 New York.